All right, so get this, Kamala Harris. $1 billion. And she still loses to Trump.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's pretty wild, right?
Wild. This is like political earthquake territory, right?
Yeah, definitely raises questions, for sure.
So we're diving into this train wreck today. It's our source material is this article, right, from the Washington Examiner, how Kamala Harris plowed through $1 billion.
That's the title.
Catchy, isn't it?
Catchy. It's brutal. I mean, come on, $1 billion.
It's a lot of money.
It's insane. I mean, if money's really everything in politics, how'd she blow it?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Or should I say the $1 billion question?
Right. So first off, the spending gap. It wasn't even close.
No, not at all.
I mean, Harris just dropped a ridiculous amount of cash, like $654 million on ads alone compared to Trump's, what, 378?
378 million, that's right.
And overall, it's even crazier. She spends nearly 3 times as much. 880 million for Harris and what, 354 for Trump.
Those are the numbers from the article. Pretty stark difference. Stark. It's obscene. So where did all that money go?
Well, the article goes into some detail about that, breaks down the spending.
Hit me with it.
Well, payroll and taxes, for example, $56.6 million for Harris.
Wow.
And only $9 million for Trump.
So she's got this massive team, right? All those consultants, strategists. What were they even doing?
Well, there were consultant fees, yeah. Over $12.8 million, according to the article.
$12.8 million just for advice. You got to wonder what they were telling her.
It's not just personnel, right? They had events, big productions.
Oh, yeah. What about that Oprah thing? Wasn't that $1 million right there?
I think you're right. $1 million to Oprah's production company.
And then there was that podcast appearance, right? Color Daddy.
Oh, that's in there too.
6 figures just to build a set for a podcast? Come on.
Yeah, they really went all out.
So, fine, she spends like a drunken sailor, but why the loss?
Well, the article has some different perspectives on that.
Lay it on me.
For example, Tom Fitton, he's the president of Judicial Watch. He says voters just weren't buying it.
Meaning?
Well, he thinks people cared more about the economy, those everyday issues.
So, money can't buy you votes if you're not talking about what people actually care about.
That's his take, yeah.
Okay, what else?
There's this Democratic strategist, Jake Delamonte. His argument is that Trump's personality, his brand, it just connected better.
You mean the whole, larger-than-life say-anything thing?
Exactly.
All right, any other theories?
Oh, yeah. Brad Todd, a Republican strategist, says Harris's message wasn't hitting home.
Not hitting home where?
With those swing state voters, the ones who decide elections. He thinks she missed the mark on key issues for them.
So big spending, an army of consultants, and still the message was a dud.
Yeah, it's a complicated picture.
Complicated. It's a mess.
But, it makes you think, right? About how campaigns are run, how money's used.
No kidding. There's definitely more to unpack here.
This whole thing with Harris, it kind of reminds me of, that saying you can put lipstick on a pig?
You're comparing Harris to a pig.
No, not at all. But what I mean is, no amount of money can fix a bad candidate or a message that just doesn't connect.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. So speaking of money, the article goes into this whole dark money thing, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, dark money. Always a bit of a mystery, right?
So what is it exactly? Like some kind of secret stash politicians use?
It's basically spending where they don't have to tell you where the money comes from.
So it's like anonymous donations?
Kinda. It's often channeled through these organizations, nonprofits. They don't got to name names.
Sounds a little shady, if you ask me.
Yeah, a lot of people have concerns about it. Transparency, accountability, all that.
I mean, how do we even know it's not just some rich dude trying to buy influence?
Right. That's one of the big worries, right? It's like, who's really pulling the strings?
And what are they getting in return? It can't just be about good old-fashioned patriotism, right?
Yeah, the lack of transparency is a problem for a lot of folks. They worry about undue influence from powerful people, corporations and stuff.
So they donate a ton of cash.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the politicians pushing policies that benefit them.
That's the fear. It's like, is this democracy or a bidding war?
Right. It's a valid point. I mean, it makes you wonder about the whole system.
There are arguments on both sides, though.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, some people say these donations are protected, like free speech. Others say it undermines fair elections.
So it's a tricky issue, for sure. But it definitely makes you think.
Absolutely. It's something voters need to be aware of, right?
Okay, so we've got dark money. What else? The article mentioned these super pegs. What are those all about?
Super PACs. Oh, they're interesting.
Spill the tea.
So they can basically raise and spend tons of money, to support or oppose candidates, but
What?
they can't work directly with the campaigns.
So they're like these independent groups just throwing money around,
Kinda. They can run ads, do polls, all sorts of stuff.
but nobody's really controlling them.
They have to operate independently, yeah. That's the rule.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, some people worry about that for sure. They say it gives too much power to wealthy donors, distorts things.
See, they can basically flood the airwaves with attack ads and nobody can stop them.
It can happen, yeah.
Sounds pretty messed up to me. Like, where's the fairness in that?
It's a legitimate concern. I mean, how much does this money actually influence the outcome? That's the question.
Right. Is it even about the voters anymore? Or just whoever has the deepest pockets?
Well, I wouldn't say that. Voters still have the power, right? They can choose who they want.
Yeah, but are they really choosing? Or are they just being manipulated by all this money and these shady tactics?
That's why it's so important for people to be informed, to be engaged.
You're saying we got to see through the BS, right?
Exactly. Don't just take things at face value. Look deeper, ask questions, be critical.
Easier said than done, sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's crucial, right? If we want a democracy that actually works, we got to be active participants.
Okay, so let's step back for a second, right? We've talked about all the bad stuff, all the money, all the problems. But after all this, after Harris loses with $1 billion, can we say money doesn't matter anymore?
Well, it's definitely not the only thing, that's for sure. I mean, she had all that cash, but her message didn't work. Her campaign made mistakes.
So maybe she was just a bad candidate. Or is it something bigger? Like, is the system itself messed up?
That's a great question, and it's something we should explore more deeply.
All right, so where do we go from here? We've seen the wreckage, right? Harris, $1 billion, and boom, she's gone. What's the lesson?
Well, there are definitely some key takeaways here. I mean, it's clear money isn't everything, right?
Yeah, but it's got to count for something, right?
Oh, absolutely. It plays a huge role. But this election, it shows something's changing.
What do you mean?
Voters, they're getting smarter. They're not falling for the same old tricks.
So they're seeing through the BS, you're saying?
Exactly. They want more than just slick ads and empty promises.
So what do they want?
Authenticity, realness. They want someone who gets them, who shares their values.
So is this the end of the polished, consultant-driven campaign?
Maybe. It could be a sign of things to come.
It'd be about time. But how do you know who's genuine and who's faking it?
That's the tough part, right? We have to be more critical, more engaged.
Naming.
Look beyond the surface, do your research, check their track record, their policies. Where's the money coming from?
Basically, don't be a sheep, think for yourself.
Exactly. It's on us, the voters, to hold these candidates accountable.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
If we want a system that actually works, we have to put in the effort.
All right, so let's wrap this up. What have we learned from this whole Harris debacle?
Well, for one, money can't buy you everything. You need a message that resonates, a campaign that's smart.
And maybe most importantly, voters who are paying attention.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we, the people, still have the power.
So to all our listeners out there, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions.
And don't forget to like and follow us for more deep dives like this. We'll keep digging into the issues that matter. Thanks for listening.
Voice Marie.